My wife has huge meltdowns about basic things and it's becoming a problem for my marriage. Yesterday I got a notification that a purchase over $500 had been made on my joint Costco credit card. My wife never uses this card for anything other than gas and purchases at Costco. A bit more than a week ago she offhandedly told me she was going to make a payment for prescription contacts. I didn't think anything of it. Then in the middle of the workday I see this enormous charge. To be honest, I totally forgot about the contact purchase she mentioned last week, but even if I did, I wouldn't have guessed it would cost $500. I call her a couple of times, she doesn't pick up. I figure if she isn't available to take my call because she is working, she wouldn't have been available to make the purchase. So, I texted her that I am disputing it and do just that. When she finally sees my text, she freaks out. I immediately call the bank and get the situation rectified. Fixing the issue took 15 minutes. I call my wife back, tell her it's all been taken care of, and she starts lecturing me about I don't understand what it's like to deal with her health issues and how it took her 4 hours to order those contacts. I know she does a lot and deals with a lot of health issues, and it takes up a lot of her time and that I don't understand. She has endo and, although no official diagnosis, probably also suffers from Hashimoto's disease. She has a range of gut issues and dietary restrictions. I'm relatively healthy, though I have had 2 ACL surgeries in the past couple of years, so I'm not completely in the dark when it comes to dealing with insurance, and the difficulties navigating the US medical system. Still, I don't care for being lectured. We all make honest mistakes. Next time I know to wait longer and to make sure to talk to my wife before canceling the card. I apologized. Another example. Last weekend I did the dishes, and my wife started the laundry. She took both towels out the bathroom to wash them, but only replaced her towel. On Monday when I got out of the shower, I grabbed the towel my wife used. Not really noticing there was now only 1 towel instead of 2. She is annoyed I used her towel. The next day she grabs a new towel. I can tell the towel is new because it is still folded instead of hanging up. This time I reuse the same towel I used Monday, thinking my wife must have grabbed a new towel for herself because she does not like damp towels. I don't mind a slightly wet towel, so I'll continue to use the same towel we both used on Monday. She blows up on me. Apparently, I was supposed to use the new towel. I tell her I am sorry, it was an honest mistake, and I try and brainstorm solutions on how we can prevent this from occurring again. Separate designated areas for both towels. She doesn't want to talk about solutions. She wants to understand how I made the mistake. To me it's obvious, my wife hates using slightly used towels. The new towel must be for her. I tell her such, but she doesn't seem to believe me. I'm frustrated. She doesn't want to work on a solution, she just wants to be angry at me for using the wrong towel in an ambiguous situation. Finally, I grab the small number of possessions that are mine from the bathroom and decide from now on I am going to use the guest bathroom. She doesn't like this idea either. She says it feels like I am punishing her by using the other bathroom. What? I feel like I'm going crazy. I've told her in both situations and other similar situations. I'm sorry, it was an honest mistake, I love you, let's work on a solution. And she still needs to repeatedly ask me, how could you have used my towel again? I got you a new towel, or tell me I told you last week I was purchasing contacts, how could you have disputed the purchase? I try to answer her questions, but answering seems to make her angrier. Like I am giving her an excuse. So I just go back to, I'm sorry, it was an honest mistake, I love you, let's work on a solution. Then it goes back to her asking me why I did it in a never-ending cycle. In case it is not clear, she is not asking how I could have made the mistake in a nice way. The only way for me to break the cycle is to break down and cry or leave. Guys, what would you do? Is there a way for me to teach her how not to be so emotional and angry when minor inconveniences come up? Is there a way to teach her to be more solution-oriented? A couple other things, if we fight and I take a step back and go for a walk or something to cool my head. She accuses me of punishing her, by taking a step back. I try to tell her, it's best for both of us to take space to calm down so we can talk rationally. I think she might have some abandonment trauma, and that's why she reacts so negatively to taking a step back / going for a walk. But it is also not fair for me to be talked to the way she does when she's angry. Am I abusing her by taking a step back from her abuse and going for a walk? She also likes to state that she should be free to express her emotions and that she shouldn't have to bottle everything up. But I also don't think she should be able to use that as an excuse to berate me for regular everyday mistakes. I think we probably need to try therapy. We did it once before, but my wife didn't like the approach, Gottman method. I never told my wife this, but I think the therapist agreeing with me that it was healthy to take some space to cool down during an argument made my wife distrust the therapist, and that's the real reason she didn't thought we should stop. My wife works in AITA, so she can be very opinionated on therapists. Someone help me. I work in an argumentative industry. I fight every day with clients about project costs and schedule. I can't come home and fight as well. I don't have it in me. Edit. A couple people are pointing out that jumping to the conclusion that the contact payment was fraud was extreme. Purchases notifications normally pop up as soon as the purchase was made, not a week later. Also, when I googled the statement description, a website popped stating others had reported it as fraud. I simply did not remember her telling me she was making the purchase a week ago, and I would never have expected it to cost over $500. Also, I figured it would be easy to undo. But if I'm wrong, keep telling me, perhaps it's what I need to hear. Edit number 2, a few people are shitting on my wife because she works in AITA. She is acutely aware of some of the less pleasant methods in AITA and she doesn't use them. Her younger sister has autism and is nonverbal. Her approach at work is definitely from a place of compassion, and as I understand it, most of her work is play-oriented. She's done great work developing peer programs and summer camps at work for these kids. In that regard, she is a saint. Edit number 3, I'll take your advice and start going to therapy. It sounds like I have some work to do. Comment. He tried that and that pissed her off. Man, he can't win. Therapy is definitely needed, but it sounds like if the therapist agrees with op, she's out. What's the point? You're in a tough spot and you're damn if you do and damn if you don't. I truly can't think of any solutions to this problem that will help you. She's definitely got a problem that needs professional help with, and I hope she'll be open to it. Otherwise, good luck. They need to communicate better. It sounds like op is trying, but wife is not currently receptive to his method of communicating. Couples counseling is 100% needed, but it won't work if she's not interested. He could go by himself at least a few times, though. Anytime your partner doesn't want to go, you can still go by yourself. Having someone to talk to is part of the point. It's not childish to choose to have separate bathrooms, but it is childish to remove all of you things in response to an argument over bath towels. And to be clear, she was being childish over the bath towels too. Which is why I said they both needed to learn healthy conflict resolution. Sounds like there is a lot of tot for ratting petty BS going on. We had a news segment I caught yesterday where a guy was denied thousands of dollars reimbursement from TD Bank because he didn't report it in the first few hours. I feel what he did wasn't a blow-up move though. So what, he reported it? He forgot there was supposed to be a charge at all. He wasn't trying to cause a rift in their relationship, or even argue for that matter. Mind you, it's just a misunderstanding. I don't see where actually getting mad at your partner solves anything or is healthy. She could talk it out, and say, oh whoops, haha, funny mistake. Move on. Why fight over a mistake? It seems he's taking extra precautions with the bathroom too because she wants to fight him. It's two different ways of overreacting that have different effects on the relationship. I'm still on his side with this. It sounds like his wife is argumentative as hell. Well, we don't know her side. Perhaps you do this a lot and she feels you aren't listening. Either way, you should look into a few sessions with a marriage counselor so you guys can prioritize healthy ways of communicating, because that seems to be what you're upset about. It's always good to have a referee there that can help each of you see what the other is trying to say. Can't hurt, right? Instead of communicating, you just keep apologizing, and I can see how that's annoying for her. Instead, ask her, is this towel for me? It's not hard to actually communicate and talk to your wife. She feels like you're not listening. His point is that she berates him constantly over petty things and it's draining him emotionally. The towel is just an example. Tomorrow it could be whose turn it was to take out the trash. If he constantly messes up on the same things, it would be more understandable, but that doesn't seem to be the case here. Everyone is human and everyone makes mistakes from time to time. Did you miss the part where she guilt trips him for removing himself from volatile and / or unproductive arguments? Clearly more going on here than him not asking his wife's input for every single action he takes in his life. Next story 2. I feel like my husband is trying to upstage me. How do I not feel bitter about this? 8 years ago, we had our first child. We weren't in a position where we could afford any child care, so I dropped to part-time while he kept his full-time job. For those 3 years, I was absolutely miserable. I was lucky that my mill was there to help out in the first year. I appreciated her help, but after she moved it was just me until 5 p.m. All things considered, she wasn't too fussy, but cooking, cleaning and taking care of my daughter was just exhausting. Once he got home he was happy to help, and he did the night routines. He took care of her all of Saturdays, but I still did most of the night wake ups. I got back to work once we got her into preschool, and the weight off my shoulders felt fantastic. 3 years back, we decided we wanted to try for another. By this time I'd been promoted and was making more than our incomes. We could easily afford childcare with this, but my husband decided he wanted to play stay-at-home mom this time. I could afford it, we talked about it, and it made sense at the time. It was petty of me, but I did kind of want him to have a taste of what I went through. He's done awesome, to the point where I feel like he's trying to spite me. After I was done with maternity leave, it was just him with our son. Ever since it's like he's been trying to be better than I was. I cooked a good deal of boxed stuff, and this man wants to spend his time making me things like a quiche, and texting me recipes he wants to try out. I cleaned, but it never occurred to me to dust the ceiling fans and shelves every single month. That's fine, but it's another thing to be extra. The school bus has worked fine up until now, but he's decided that he'd rather do pickups and drop-offs himself. I don't think it's nitpicky to just do what's been working. I feel like he's making this a contest I can't win because I'm trying to support us. I had to ask to be included in the bedtime routine, and my daughter's just so quiet now when I'm doing it, when she's all giggles with him. I know he thinks it's hard. I read his Discord messages and he vents about things to his friends. But when I get home, all smiles, happy family, here's a ravioli that could have been store-bought. It's dishonest. Today was the kicker. It's my birthday, and I hear a grand total of nothing. He left a note on the counter that he took the kids to Sweet Frog so I can have the house to myself, and that to be ready by 7. I feel like he's trying to prove something, like there's a trophy while I'm busting my butt giving us an income. Since he hasn't really done anything wrong, I feel like I'm not allowed to be mad at him, but that's not fair. It sucked for me, and he's just parading around like he can do no wrong in this, and that he's just full of sparkles and sunshine. I'm not sure how to move past these feelings, and I don't even know if I should. Comment. This is a you problem. Talk to a therapist. You're mad because he enjoys and is good at something you didn't enjoy and weren't good at? He's not doing anything wrong. You need therapy. Immediately. Your husband isn't playing stay-at-home mom, which, BTW, is a really gross, sexist, just plain shitty thing to say. He's being a stay-at-home dad. Which is a real thing. And he's not competing with you at all, much less trying to make you look bad or outshine you, or any of the other miserable scenarios you're projecting on him. It just turns out that he's enjoying and is very good at what you've acknowledged is the very difficult job of being a stay-at-home parent. It suits him, and he is taking the opportunity to really invest of himself in it, because that's his life right now, and he takes pride in it. And it has nothing to do with you, or how you did the same job several years ago, under completely different circumstances. Not everything is about you. This is just about how he is undertaking this challenge now, under the current circumstances. And you making it about you, and some weird internal idea that your own life partner's whole life revolves around one-upping you and making you feel bad, is not only super unhealthy, it speaks to rabid insecurities and a rather nasty attitude towards your husband, who it seems has done less than nothing to deserve it. Therapy. Now. I cannot upvote this enough. Please read this. To add to this, he's not dealing with post-pregnancy hormones the way you were. He's not working part-time. Different playing fields. Not that it matters, because, and this is really important, you're supposed to be a team, not in competition with each other. So when he was the breadwinner he was doing a better job. Now that he's staying home in your shoes and still doing a better job than you're complaining. You yourself said you wanted him to have a taste of your medicine, right? You seem insanely jealous that he's better than you at being the earner or the one staying at home. Some people are simply amazing homemakers. Enjoy it. Your take on the bus vs driving them to school is simply irrational. I'm a shift worker, so there are plenty of days my kids get themselves to school, but if I'm not physically at work I absolutely take them, and I would fight anyone that suggested otherwise. It's a nice thing for them, and the dynamic of talking about your day in the car is different, and some kids open up in a different way that can be important. Please seek therapy before ruining a good thing.